In a small village nestled between ancient hills, there was a forest known as the Whispering Woods. Locals warned against entering after dark. Strange sounds echoed from within, unsettling enough to chill even the bravest souls. One autumn evening, a curious teenager named Mia decided to explore the woods. Do you also like watching horror stories? So turn off the lights of your room and close the door. And stay till the end of the video, driven by tales of a hidden treasure. Armed with only her flashlight and a sense of adventure, she stepped onto the leaf-strewn path, the sun sinking behind the trees. As she ventured deeper, the air grew colder, and the whispers began. At first, they sounded like rustling leaves, but soon she could distinguish words, soft, pleading voices calling her name. Mia, come play with us. Heart racing, she pressed on, dismissing the whispers as tricks of the mind. Yet, the further she walked, the more insistent they became. Shadows danced at the edges of her vision, and the ground seemed to pulse beneath her feet. Suddenly, the whispers shifted to laughter, childlike, yet haunting. Mia felt an icy grip on her heart. Stay with us forever, they sang, and the laughter twisted into something sinister. Desperate to escape, Mia turned back, but the path seemed to shift, leading her deeper into the forest. Panic set in as she realized she was lost. The whispers now turned to wails, echoing her fear. You can't leave us. Just then, she stumbled upon a clearing, where a group of pale, ghostly figures appeared, children with hollow eyes and outstretched hands. Join us, Mia, they chorused, their voices now a chilling harmony. With no choice left, Mia sprinted back into the trees, the figures chasing her, their laughter growing louder. The whispers became screams, urging her to stop. But she didn't look back, her heart pounding in her chest. Finally, she burst out of the woods, collapsing on the familiar path leading to her village. Gasping for breath, she glanced back, only to see the trees standing still, their secret safely hidden within. Weeks later, Mia learned that others had vanished into the Whispering Woods, never to return. The village mourned them, but in the silence of the night, sometimes she heard their whispers calling her back. And every so often, when the wind rustled through the trees, Mia could swear she felt their cold fingers brushing against her skin, inviting her to join their eternal game. In a quiet town, an antique shop held a dusty mirror said to reflect the true nature of the soul. Few dared to look into it, but curiosity drove Lily, a young woman drawn to its ornate frame. One rainy afternoon, she stepped inside the shop, the bell jingling softly as she entered. The air was thick with the scent of aged wood and forgotten memories. The shopkeeper watched her with an unsettling gaze, warning, not everyone who looks sees the same thing. Ignoring the warning, Lily approached the mirror, her reflection distorted under layers of grime. As she wiped the glass, the surface shimmered, revealing a darker version of herself, a shadowy figure with hollow eyes, grinning menacingly. Suddenly, the air chilled. The reflection whispered, "Come closer." Entranced, Lily reached out. As her fingers brushed the surface, the mirror pulled her in, dragging her through the glass with an icy grip. Inside the mirror, Lily found herself in a twisted version of her world, where everything felt wrong. Shadows danced, and echoes of laughter filled the air, mocking her. She wandered through a darkened version of her home, each room filled with nightmarish scenes, her loved ones, faces twisted in fear, unable to see her. Desperate to escape, she stumbled into a room filled with mirrors, each reflecting her darker self, growing more grotesque with every glance. "You belong to us now," they chanted, their voices intertwining in a haunting melody. Panic surged within her. She tried to run, but the mirrors closed in, each reflection reaching out as if to pull her into their cursed realm. "Join us," they screamed, their laughter echoing in her ears. Just as hope began to fade, Lily remembered the shopkeeper's words. She focused on her true self, whispering affirmations of her strength and will to return. With a surge of determination, she faced the mirror that had trapped her, channeling her energy into breaking its spell. The glass began to crack, light spilling through the fissures. With one final push, she lunged at the mirror, shattering it. The world exploded in brightness, and she felt herself being pulled back, escaping the dark realm. Lily stumbled out of the antique shop, gasping for breath, the shattered pieces of the mirror glinting around her. The shopkeeper smiled knowingly, "You've learned a lesson today." From that day on, Lily avoided mirrors, haunted by the knowledge that the reflection could be more than just a surface. But sometimes, late at night, she swore she could hear the whispers of the trapped souls, begging her to return. In a remote village, whispers surrounded an abandoned house at the edge of the woods. It was said to be cursed, the remnants of a family that vanished without a trace. Despite the warnings, a group of friends, eager for a thrill, decided to explore the ominous structure one stormy night. As they approached, lightning illuminated the weathered facade. The door creaked open, revealing a dark hallway lined with dusty portraits whose eyes seemed to follow them. Unease settled in, but they pressed on, armed with flashlights and bravado. In the living room, a cracked mirror hung on the wall, reflecting distorted images. One friend, Mark, stepped closer. "Let's take a selfie," he said, grinning. As the flash went off, a figure appeared behind them in the mirror, pale and ghostly, its mouth twisted in a silent scream. They all froze, hearts pounding. "Did you see that?" Lily whispered. Mark, unnerved, shrugged it off, but the atmosphere shifted. The air grew heavy, and a chilling breeze swept through the room. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed from upstairs. "What was that?" Sarah gasped, her voice trembling. They debated leaving, but curiosity won. They climbed the staircase, the wooden steps creaking underfoot. Each step felt like a warning. At the top, they found a hallway lined with closed doors. One door, slightly ajar, beckoned them. Inside, an old nursery lay untouched, toys scattered, and a rocking chair gently swaying as if recently occupied. The friends exchanged nervous glances. Then, they heard it, a soft, melodic humming coming from the shadows. The air turned icy. "We should go," Jake urged, but Mark, feeling brave, stepped into the room. "What's the worst that could happen?" As he crossed the threshold, the humming stopped abruptly. The door slammed shut behind him. Panic erupted. "Mark," they cried, pounding on the door. Silence engulfed them. Suddenly, the rocking chair stopped. The door creaked open slowly, revealing an empty room, but Mark was gone. Fear gripped them. They rushed to escape, but the house had changed. The walls seemed to close in, hallways twisting impossibly. Desperate, they ran back to the living room, but the mirror now reflected a horrific scene, the missing friends, trapped in the house, their faces twisted in terror, the ghostly figure looming over them, eyes glowing with malice. With no time to think, they dashed for the front door, but it slammed shut, sealing their fate. The house came alive, shadows swirling around them, whispering their deepest fears. One by one, they felt icy hands grasping at their ankles, pulling them into the darkness. As the storm raged outside, the house returned to its eerie silence. Morning light revealed only the crumbling structure, untouched and alone. The villagers spoke in hushed tones, knowing that another group had vanished into the shadows, lost forever in the forgotten house.